All right, let's get into it.
Oh, tell me it's Friday.
It is.
I wish
it was Friday. For all you listeners right now, it is Friday, though, which means it is some random time and day during the week for us. So we can get this beautiful piece of content over in our producer's hands so we can edit it and get it out for all your ear hole listening. But welcome back to another episode of the Warfighter Tobacco Podcast. I'm John, that's Scott, and we got Justin over here as producer extraordinaire. And today we're going to talk about some interesting things.
Yeah.
Maybe.
At
least we might find them interesting.
Things that were, one of the topics we have no firsthand experience with. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. This one?
No.
Okay.
The next one.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure we both have plenty of experience in this one. So we just read an article put out by Military Times. And it was the Army is to award Master Combat Badge to expert combat tested soldiers. And essentially what that means is there's a handful of jobs in the Army that you can. Well, there's three.
Okay.
You got your expert instruments badge.
Yep.
Your expert field medic badge.
Yep.
And your expert soldier badge, which is a new one that they came out with a couple of years ago.
This is why I had a confused look on my face. I didn't know there was an expert soldier.
There is, because
that's every job then. That's everybody in the military, right?
They're allowed to go take the test.
Yes, right.
Everybody is eligible.
In theory, on paper.
So all of these expert ones mean you have to go through a testing period, you
have to show your proficiency and that you're an expert in your field,
right? And like both me and you have done the expert infantry testing.
Yep,
and it's not easy.
It sucked.
Yeah, I failed my first time.
It sucked. I wasn't a true blue, but I got mine on the first time.
Oh, or did I? I can't remember. I think I failed my first.
I think you're allowed to fail 2 stages, if I remember.
No,
right.
I failed my first iteration of testing.
Yeah. But I think I think you can fail 2 stages of the whole course,
but not 2 in a row.
No, and there's specific ones that you have to pass.
Yeah, like there's different events, right? So for combat or for expert infantry badge. You had to do a road march. You had to do a PT test.
But you had to, on the PT test, you had to score a 90 or above.
Right.
On your road march, you had to do 12 miles in 3 hours or faster.
Right.
So there were standards that weren't your normal standards that are there's a normal PT test standard. You have to get 70% in every category. In order to get your expert instruments badge, you have to do a minimum of 90% in every category.
And then there's land nav.
Yep.
And then you had like how to disassemble and reassemble a 240 Bravo.
Yeah. All the different weapon systems.
Yep.
You had to do
grenades, got everybody.
Grenades, comms,
pro mask.
You had to do
landmines,
basic medical stuff.
Call for fire,
op orders.
Yeah, it was a bunch of stuff.
You had to do terrain tables.
I want to say there was 26 different
something like that. That sounds about right.
Yeah,
it was a lot. It was like so I remember there was 3 days of testing, solid 3 days,
not including the big events like the PT test.
Yeah, and that was prior to those 3 days of testing. Yeah. But leading up to that, we probably spent a month or 2 prepping.
Yeah.
In running through all the different lanes that they had, because it was all set up in the woods. Yeah. It was kind of cool.
It was good training.
It was great training because you learned how to do things the right way. But the shitty part about it was whether you completed the task to standard or not didn't really matter.
No.
If you followed the steps appropriately, that's what mattered. If you missed a step on certain lanes, they'd fail you.
But then there was like the pro mask where it was timed.
And it didn't matter. You get it on in 8 seconds or you're dead.
Yeah. Yep. And so you could fail. You could do 2 tries at each event, right?
Yep.
But so if you failed once, you got a retry. And if you failed again, you're done.
Yep. You're a no-go at this
Or
stage.
if you failed once and passed, failed once and passed, and then failed one more time, you were done.
Yeah, it was something weird like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
But so that now they do that, the expert field medical badge, It's very similar, very rigorous,
Right.
Way more medical related things, but they still have physical standards that they have to pass in order to get it. And I believe it's the same.
And I have no idea what the expert soldier one is.
So I read some stuff on that when it first came out, and it read like it was a motherfucker to get.
Yeah.
Like, and I also read some like follow-up articles that there was like an infantile percentage that actually got it when they first started offering these things. Like they'd start this with like 400 people and like 3 of them graduate,
That's
passed.
surprising because there was probably no badge protectors yet.
No, but they're holding them to a standard,
Right.
And I appreciate that because, like going for the expert infantryman badge, there was
no gray area. It was
yeah.
pass or fail.
And then there were people that were the graders that were, somebody that already had an EIB that went through whatever little, instructional period that they have to go through to be a grader. For
you know what? I got it on my first one. I was a grader.
You're a grade on the second. Yeah.
I remember doing it twice, but it was as a grader.
And some guys like they're there for experience and they can tell if you know it or not. You know what I mean? Like when you have a guy going up to do one of these lanes in the EIB course, if he knows or not.
Yeah, and like for example, the 240 gunners
knew
the 240.
Yeah,
but you have a line guy that never was in a weapons school.
Right.
He struggled with it a little bit more.
But the same thing, like even with like your land nav stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, say how you plotted that point was wrong, but it was plotted in the right place. You know what I mean? Like there's guys who'd be like, oh, that's wrong. And there's other guys like, well, you got the right answer, But then you also have the badge protectors, which are the guys that are like, if you don't do this to it exact T, you failed. You didn't make it. You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, well, you stepped 2 inches to the right. So, you don't pass this lane. But I feel like they're doing that with the expert soldier badge as well. They're just, holding it to that higher standard because it's, you have to be an expert at what you're doing.
Can you Google expert soldier badge and just see what like some of the tasks are? Because a lot of the infantry tasks we did were basic infantry skills. And I don't know what is different between that and a basic soldier skill. Oh, so you have to qualify. We had to qualify with that weapon too.
Yeah, we had to qualify expert. So the expert soldier badge tasks, carbine, rifle, light grenade launcher, 249, 240, 50 cal, Mark 19.
So it's a lot like an EIB.
Yeah.
React to
IED.
That's a new one.
Construct individual fighting position, search individual in a tactical environment, employ progressive levels of individual force, mark CBR in contaminated areas.
All that's new to me.
Yep. Then you got a medical lane, request medical evac, provide care under fire, move a casualty, provide first air, restore breathing.
We had to do a lot of those.
Yeah. Evaluate a casualty, control breathing, elevate and treat casualty for spinal neck, apply occlusive dressing from first aid to open head wound. Yeah, we had to do all this stuff. Open abdominals, treat fracture. We actually had to do second chest wound as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is all.
Yeah.
And then there's a patrol lane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, all of that's pretty cool, I guess. So, what does it look like? Just without the reef, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the knife.
It's a bayonet. It's an M9 bayonet.
Yeah.
And a hand grenade behind there. I don't know if I noticed that.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, and then the easier ones to get, which are hard to get, are the
the easier ones that are hard.
Yeah. So for the combat infantry badge, all we had to do was get shot at.
That's by an armed enemy.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you had to deploy to combat and see an armed enemy and then get shot at by them. Oh, yeah, I don't think you have to get shot at. You had to, if we
you
shot
have to be
them.
actively engaged by an armed enemy.
So what if I just sniped one and they
Nope.
never saw me?
Doesn't count.
Really?
Yep.
That's,
Because you weren't engaged. Yeah.
You don't have to return.
let's look.
You don't have to return fire.
Yeah, you just have to be shot at.
You
right?
just have to be shot at. That's it.
But what if I just shoot an enemy without him? That doesn't count.
That doesn't count.
Oh, come on.
You weren't engaged.
Pull up the reg. Let's look. I don't know.
It
makes sense.
Almost verbatim.
It makes sense.
Actively engaged by an armed enemy.
It makes sense to me.
If I remember right.
But if there's somebody out there slaying the bad guy and not getting a fucking EIB, that'd be crazy to me.
Be personally present and under hostile fire while in the unit.
Okay.
Yeah. It has nothing to do with what you do. It's just what they do to you.
All right. So that's why it's easy to get. There's no testing involved.
But it's hard to get.
Well, it's hard to get.
You have to be in the right place at the right time.
You have to be in the right place at the wrong time. I don't know. It depends how you look at
it. I had a platoon sergeant who had both his CIB and his EIB, and he used to wear his EIB. And someone asked me, why do you wear your EIB instead of your CIB?
Because everyone's got a CIB.
I got shot at and didn't die. That's how I got this one. This one I worked my fucking ass off.
It was funny when I first got my CIB. That's all I wanted to wear.
Yeah, because we were in OIF or OIF 1. Yeah.
Right. Previous to that, I wore my EIB and I was fucking proud of it because there was guys in our units that outranked me that didn't have one.
Oh yeah. And that was fucking epic.
It was that and my airborne wings. Every once in a while they chew my ass and I just be like, not enough to piss them off, but just to let them know, like, hey, you remember these that I have that you don't?
Yeah. And then when I got out, everybody had a CIB. Yeah. So to wear an EIB,
right?
Because everybody was deployed so much, nobody tested for EIB.
Nobody did.
So there was like when I was in, there was a 3 or 4 year period where nobody hardly tested because we were deployed so often.
Yep.
And so the EIBs became a little bit rarer.
But so to get the Master Combat Badge, you have to do your expert whatever for whatever job you have. For infantry like us, it'd be an expert infantryman's badge. And then we also have to get our CIB, a combat infantryman's badge, being in combat. And then you get to wear this one, which is the Master Infantry. Well, what is it? The Master Combat Badge?
Master Combat Badge.
Okay.
So they said that the difference is going to be it has a gold reef instead of a silver.
Yep.
But this article doesn't say when they're doing this.
Or if it's retro.
Or if it's for sure.
But yeah, so like, do they get stars?
No, it would just be a gold reef.
No, I know. But like, what if the guy has 2 CIBs?
Oh yeah, you still get the star like normal, I would imagine.
Well,
not. He has to have his EIB too, though.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Huh. But
I think this is it. Not 100%.
No, I don't know. If I had a star, so you get a star in your CIB from serving in 2 different theaters. Now, Iraq and Afghanistan, technically,
we had one in our battalion that had a star. Who was that?
Heights. We had a couple.
Yeah, we had a couple. You're right.
Yep. And they got their star. When we got pinned ours, they got pinned their star.
Yeah.
And it was like, bro.
Yeah. There was like 3 in the battalion, I think, or brigade maybe. There was very few of them.
Yep.
Yeah. But Heights, I think his story, he was in Desert Storm.
Yep.
Got out.
He did. And then he came back in. And deployed. Yeah. But I think he came back in. I can't remember if he came back in pre or post 9/11. I know that he was with us. Like he was with us when we went to West Point in 2002.
Well, that was pre 9/11.
Yeah. Well, no, that was post 9/11.
You're right.
I just can't remember if it was pre or post that actual event.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah. He actually, I believe so. And I don't know if I'm right or wrong or not, but I believe he won the lottery like 5 or 10 years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fucking cool.
I saw something on social media. Then he like disappeared. I'm like, fucking good on you, man. Yes, you should. But no, I mean, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, because like the Army,
we've always talked about it.
The Army likes to they give you a show off badge for damn near everything,
but it's very rare. Like the period when we were in, right? Like when we joined, it was peacetime, so there were no whatever, and then 20 years of war.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, like
but there's you got to think of look at the 30 years prior to when we deployed. There was a couple of conflicts, but there really wasn't anything crazy. So like things like this never really got brought up.
Right.
There was no demand or need for it because it wasn't like, well, we have half of our force has both of these and they can't wear one or the other. How do we fix it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because in the Army, you're not allowed. So there's different classes of badges. And so you're only allowed to wear say 1 in the in this class, 2 in this class, or whatever.
The expert badges and the combat badges fall in the same class. Yeah. So you have to choose one or the other. You can't wear them both.
All the Marines that are listening are like, fucking Army problem.
Yeah, I could wear my car or whatever. Yeah.
Getting recon, buddy. I don't know what to tell you.
I think Mikey said that they can wear their airborne wings, right? It's like one of the very, very few that they can wear on like their camis.
But that's because they don't ever send Marines to airborne schools.
Very true. I was lucky enough to go to airborne school with it was 3 or 4 Marines.
Yeah.
And it was awesome because the first jump we did, it was like combat equipment, or no, third jump or whatever, where they introduce combat equipment. But in your weapons case, they just stick a 2x4.
Yeah.
So it's not floppy.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember I landed right next to him, and as I'm packing up my chute, I hear one of the Sergeant Airborns get on the bullhorn and go, "Collect your parachute, Marine." And I look over, and like him and one of his Marine buddies are like pulling security with their 2x4s out. And I was just like, oh, the Army can be fun. Or the military can be fun. But yeah, I was just like, these guys are cool.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I guess while we're on the military, we might as well switch topics now.
Yeah, the Army's getting some new tech.
Yeah, they're getting all kinds of fancy stuff. Yeah. They get iPhones.
Like, how long have we been out? Almost 20 years? No.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Yeah, what was the closest
16 years I've been out.
You guys had to the, the Black Hornet, the little drone?
So we, as a brigade or battalion, I think our battalion.
Second.
Oh, this was on the second.
We didn't have shit on the first one.
Yeah, so we had the Raven.
You know what? Our drones were little birds. That was the equivalent.
To be fair, though, way cooler.
So, because they were manned.
Let's talk about this one. You look at that picture, and it doesn't do it justice. It's the size of the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
Like for this little thing is cool as shit.
Yeah.
It can fly down hallways and all kinds of cool shit. So pull up a Raven. I think that's what we used. But anyway, our battalion had the record for losing or breaking the most amount of Ravens. They finally cut us off and wouldn't give us any more. I don't know if that's
yeah. They're like half the size of like a half a person.
Yeah.
Yep.
You'd have to throw them to get them to take off, and then you could fly around and observe areas or whatever. Once you got them in the air, though, you kind of programmed like where you wanted. You didn't actually have to like joystick fly it, right? And then when you land it, you had to land it, semi flat, but it was designed where the wings would break off and it would, you could put it back together. But we brought, so right above where I stayed, the guys that would flew these would get on the roof and throw them off the roof, and then they would fly from that area. So I got to watch them try to take these off all the time, and they would throw them and burn them into the ground, and they would break apart, but they would break apart.
Oh,
not where they were supposed to.
Yeah.
Replace the wings real quick.
Like they just got all fucked up. So
I had a couple of my dudes right before I got out go to like the Raven school, get trained up and everything. And I was like, how many of those things did you break? And they were like, so many Ravens got broken.
Well, they kind of sucked. Like there should have been, I don't know. You should have had like some kind of slingshot thing to like take it off with. You know what I mean? Like, why are you relying on dudes to throw it? Especially when they just showed up. I don't think there was even a trainer that came along with these. Like, it was just like,
because I'll bet you when they sold this to the government.
Oh, they made bank.
No, I'll bet you they were like, look, it takes the equivalent of throwing a grenade. And they demonstrated it. And they were like, well, everyone's going to run a grenade lane, so anyone can launch this.
Yeah. Yeah, so this started in 2005 and it was in full production in 2006. So I mean, we went through a lot of these. They cut us off. But I remember using them, and like there was a couple instances where we were out on patrol and we didn't know what was around the bend or whatever, and we had one and we'd call it up and they'd let us know. And
it's nice.
Yeah.
Now you can just slap one of these bad boys up in the air.
Yeah, that thing's cool.
Yeah. I think it's cool just because it can be distroed out to fucking every lieutenant or whoever's assigned to it.
You don't give these.
No.
Well, yeah.
You give this to like your javelin gunner. Because he's already carrying expensive shit. You know what I mean? Like you're moving slow. You already have this.
No, it's funny. You have like a mortar team, you got a javelin team, a 240 team, and then you're like, and then we need 2 guys for the whatever the fuck this is called.
2 Steve Urkel looking motherfuckers.
And it's so your combat load is going to be 4.3 ounces
and 80 pounds of batteries.
Let's see what else we got. The new laser target locator module 2.
All right, let's read about this because I have no idea.
So I'm assuming that this is like a PEQ2, but on steroids.
No, I think this is the Viper.
Oh, okay.
So it uses GPS. Yeah, so I think essentially what this. So when I was in, we had a Viper, right, and it was a really, really good laser rangefinder. But when you laze something, it would tell you the grid coordinates of what you're lasing.
Yeah.
So it was awesome to like if you had one and you called like. There was a couple times we'd call it in helicopters, and if we busted out the Viper, like there was no question. Like this is what I'm looking at, and it would, you know what I mean. You could just read it off. It was great.
So this goes away from the grid system and uses GPS coordinates, and is more resistant to jamming.
Okay, but what is that?
Navigation code standard for many new military systems. This is the new one.
It uses M code.
As traditional GPS is too vulnerable to rely on in a pure fight.
No, I think this uses the grid reference system, right?
No, it's the M code, a military-specific GPS system.
Yeah.
Is more resistant to jamming. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that means.
Nope.
Fancy stuff.
Yeah. We just use 10-digit grids.
Then there's the Joint Effects Targeting System, or JETS.
Man-portable handheld go up target observation location designation system for light. So no, that must be what the picture was up above. Oh no, that's that.
Yeah, this is the JETS.
What the fuck does that do? It looks so fancy. There's a green lens, a yellow lens, a red lens.
It's got attachments.
Yeah. It works with the previous item we just talked about for rapid target acquisition and strikes. The system also contains a laser marker module and a precision azimuth vertical angle module. Prior to the system's fielding, dismounted soldiers could take an average of 15 to 20 minutes to locate, identify, and send targeting information to a shooter. With JETS, soldier can now do the same task in a couple of minutes, experts said. The existing system weighs less than 19 pounds. About half the weight of its predecessor. Soldiers can use the 6-pound handheld portion of the device to mark targets.
What was its predecessor? Because I don't even remember using anything like that.
It's probably something after us.
Yeah.
But for lasing air attacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's
like the JTACs and shit would have something.
Yeah, but it's a physical system. Essentially, they set it up and laze it, and it stays permanently. It's not a handheld. You know what I mean? So that way it's like we're on no matter what. That's where nobody bump it.
Yeah, I noticed this one was like on a tripod and everything.
Yep.
Scroll down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they get some new batteries too.
Yeah, the Army finally updated its batteries.
Yep. To a stub battery.
Yeah.
Small Tactical Universal Battery, or STUB.
It's got to be an acronym.
It has to be.
It's about time.
Yeah.
Because we had different batteries for our radios.
Well, here's the funny thing, though,
thermos.
Right? So they're talking about making a universal battery, but there's 4 sizes of it.
There's 4 sizes of Ryobi. It's because and I'll tell you why though.
But that's not universal. Neither are your Ryobis.
Yes, they are.
Firsthand, I grabbed a chainsaw on a battery, didn't fucking work.
Well, that's
it was the wrong battery. That's not universal.
God forbid you try to run one of those fucking lawnmowers too, John.
I know, right?
Different battery.
But I think it's for obviously for lighter stuff, you don't want the heavier battery. But no, I get this. I hope they're rechargeable because we burnt our radio batteries.
Oh God,
they weighed what, 3 pounds a piece,
and they lasted like 8 minutes.
Yeah, and we had a 3-pound piece of shit. What do you do with it when you're done?
You throw it.
Well, yeah, I know, but like that's
as far as you can, and not because you want to. It's out of anger.
Just you relieving. It's also a stress reliever.
God, this fucking piece of shit. Oh. And then you got to redo all your nets, and it's God damn it.
But so, and hopefully these are rechargeable because
They are rechargeable.
awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was so funny whenever I remember going into like our comms guy's room and he just had like, it was just like 30 bays just to recharge fucking radio batteries and shit. And
Were our batteries, radio batteries rechargeable?
No.
I don't think they were.
Mm-mm. Ours were double A's.
Ours were
No,
similar
no.
to the.
I'm talking like the big radio.
No, they were not. Because they came sealed in the packages.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Maybe they had rechargeable ones,
Oh, I don't
but we just never used them on like a mission.
I have no idea.
I don't know either. I don't remember.
I don't remember ever having it.
But I don't ever remember seeing pallets of radio batteries, and we had to have gone through pallets of fucking radio batteries.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Because every squad had what did we have? Singars? Is that what it was? I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
But every squad had one, and we would go out on a mission and have 6 batteries at least.
We had the first point we had ACOGs.
Well, yeah. That's squad internal, but I'm talking like squad had to talk to the.
It was all icons. And then we had our platoon RTO had a radio, talk to the company. Company talked to battalion.
That's right. So each platoon
Yeah.
had a
Yeah.
As a sniper team, I always had a fucking radio.
Well, yeah. And any OP that
Yeah.
was set up, we had our own radio,
Yeah.
Except for all the cops. We had icons.
Yeah.
That was so dumb. We were on walkie-talkies all around the fucking city
Yeah.
doing radio checks every 30 minutes. So stupid.
So
It worked somehow. I don't know how, but it worked.
because they weren't smart yet. We were still killing the stupid ones.
Yeah, I remember having to play RTO on one little overnight thing, and I was like, "Fuck this job! Fuck this job!" But the other new stuff is the Net Warrior, which is a smartphone based soldier tool.
Android software. Come on.
Yeah,
It's on Galaxy S20.
we all saw this one coming.
Goddamn green text bubbles.
Sir, you're a loser.
Yeah, right.
Basically, all I see this as is some fucking lieutenant is going to be looking down at his chest at his phone. And it's just going to be Google Maps pulled up.
I can see. I can see. Well, that's probably kind of what it is because I bet it's a Blue Force tracker scaled down.
But I'll bet you it has everything. I'll bet you it has comms. It has,
I'm sure you can text on it. I'm sure you can do all that. It's probably a great thing. Like I could see where this would have been handy as fuck.
Oh, insane.
Yeah.
You know how much less paper I'd have to have in my pockets? No pictures, no maps.
Well, not only that,
grid shit.
but like when you're calling for fire, just to be able to pull a map up and see where all the good guys are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep. All of it.
you know, like, because we had Blue Force trackers, but they were the one vehicle in the company.
Yeah. And half the time it didn't work.
Yeah.
Or all the other vehicles didn't show up because their Blue Force tracker didn't work.
Right.
It also says there's apps for planning fields of fire in a fighting position or medical first aid steps.
Beautiful.
Put a problem-solving tool in the soldier's pockets.
I mean, if you can't figure out fields of fire in a fucking patrol base, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like you're wrong.
But imagine having Google Maps and being able to like do your sectors of fire and see the whole squads laid out beautifully.
Yeah.
Like it would be fucking great.
But I don't think everyone's going to get one of those.
I do know that there is a big market already out there for all these mounts and stuff that you can just put your own. I've seen a bunch of guys that have that. You can put your own shit in there and just have essentially access to it at all times.
Right.
I think that's probably going to be the next problem. Is there's going to be some fucking private that is going to be walking around with this fucking iPhone. And they're going to be like,
well, here's the thing.
Well, I'm sure the military's figured out how to deal with cell phones now because
you get your phone set up there and then you just got your hot buttons to record.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Because like that top button on the new phones,
Right.
I have it set to translate and I've never used it, but you can set it for your camera.
Yeah.
And you just hit that one stop and it just starts recording. You know, if that's clipped right here in your chest, it's like wearing a body cam the whole time.
Yeah.
But you know what it's going to be used for is once this goes
Go
live,
up Justin. Right.
we're going to see so many live TikTok streams.
Hey,
you know I'm right.
I'm fucking here for it.
The development team's also continuing work on improving the device's connection between drone feeds and other extended awareness of the user. That'd be
How awesome would that be to get live drone feed on that?
Fuck, man. Especially if it's a squad leader and above or something.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet. You just fucking go over the net and be like, send the drone up, and then all your leadership is looking at it, so they're all on the same page.
Well, ultimately, you don't want everybody to have this. You
like
don't.
every soldier.
You don't.
Yeah.
No,
Why does a rifleman need this?
No.
Why does your saw gunner need it?
It depends what unit you're in, too. I could see where every SF guy would want one of those.
100%.
I could see where.
But
Yeah, no, you're right.
even in that sense, right? Why does that rifleman need all the information that team leader has? You know, like it's going to inhibit him from doing his actual job because he doesn't need, you know what I mean? Like that's the military leadership set up in a certain way to make sure that the mission actually gets accomplished.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like in theory, everyone having one would be cool. But in reality, like in a platoon, 30 guys, you only need like 6 people to have it.
Yeah.
Maybe 8, including team leaders.
Yeah.
But even then, like,
no, not even. Yeah.
you know, it's a maybe, you know, but like, why would I need that as a team leader when my squad leader, he should be just doing his fucking job.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. That'd be really cool.
It would take a lot of training to figure out how to use it.
How to actually implement it in the moment.
Yeah.
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 Hold on. Oh, fuck, I got to reboot. God damn it, hit the wrong button.
I'm real curious too about like battery life and stuff, because battery life changes depending on the temperature you're in.
Yeah.
It's real hot or real
environments.
cold. That'll drain your
And
battery.
how much you use it.
Yep. Absolutely. So I'm curious.
And it's a Samsung. Didn't those like just blow up
Well,
at one point too?
that and durability. Like,
yes.
Like what happens? So, okay. I know what happens when you smash a phone with a lithium battery in it,
Yeah.
right? To catch on fire. Imagine if you get shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get a plate behind you, but now you have a fire you can't put out in your face.
Yeah.
You know?
But not only that, but what happens if one of these gets captured? I mean, is it like
They hopefully they had them made the same place that the Israelis had their pagers made.
That would be kind of gangster. It's just got a built-in like little self-destruct button.
Why not?
or at least where the command can, or they can
That's got to be a
at
thing.
least kill it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But all right.
Next.
We don't know enough to talk
No, I
about
know.
this shit.
Yeah.
Enhanced night vision goggles, binoculars. I mean, that's awesome. Technology is consistently changing with all that. So it's got to be phenomenal. Night vision nowadays has to be just insane.
Rechargeable battery that can last 20 hours.
That's sweet.
Yeah. Currently, the system can run for under 8 hours or less. Less than 3 hours while connected to Net Warrior.
Whoa. That's the software that's used on the phones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, and that runs, I think those phones you can see through their gun sights. Like you,
Through the new, yeah. Yep.
What?
I think so.
I believe there's an option
sick.
for it. So like a lot of these high level, the tier 1 teams could potentially use this and send live feedback. You know what I mean?
To like a war room or
Yeah.
something?
For snipers, the holiday season might bring some gifts a little early. Cool. What is this one?
Oh, yeah. We got, I believe, new optics. The new small tactical optical rifle mounted optics.
So I imagine what this does is a really good laser rangefinder that adjusts your point of aim automatically. But I don't know.
I don't know. Because that's a loopholed optic on that AI. And then I believe that's a new Vortex optic on that,
That's a new SIG.
or the new SIG, excuse me. Yeah, you know what I meant. On the new SIG machine gun.
Yeah. Which is a really cool machine.
It really is. Is that the 300 Norman mag?
No,
Or
that
the 338?
that
Norman
one's
mag?
not. That's the new 277 or whatever.
Oh, is it a 277?
There's two machine guns, but that one pictured is the smaller one.
Okay. Oh, so that's like the replacement of the SAW, the 249.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, you know what? For a bunch of old infantry guys that John and I are, we would really like to get invited to an infantry like a modern infantry platoon just to like see the
Check
equipment.
out their gear.
Yeah. You know,
That's
like,
it.
then we can do the whole
See,
back in my day.
And then see if they know how to enter and clear a trench.
You guys know what a mill dot
Back
master
in my
is?
day, we had iron sights.
we had to convert mill dots we had mill dots to mills. It didn't work. Minute of
That's
angle to
funny.
fucking mills. It was dumb. But
Yep. That is kind of funny though. I remember all the times when we had to zero our IR lasers,
yeah,
and we did it with a red laser bore sight.
we did it. We unzeroed every time we did that. I'm so angry every time we did that.
And it was so funny. It would be like, I just qualified expert. They're like, I don't care. I need to see your stuff lined up. They're like, fine, let me fuck this up and redo it next time I go to the range.
Yeah, so dumb.
277 Fury.
Yep.
I think that's what they call the military is 6.8 by 51.
Yeah.
The 277 Fury is the civilian version of that.
It's the equivalent of like a 5.56 NATO round and a 223 Remington.
Except, not really, because the military one, they use a hybrid case.
Yeah.
So you have a steel
Yeah.
pocket, and you can run a lot higher pressures.
Yeah.
The civilian version, it's just an all
Just
brass
brass,
case, and you have to run
This. Yeah.
run less pressures, and so you don't have they're not exactly the same.
Right. Yeah. But so that's what's new in the military world. Kind of. Yeah. It's always cool seeing the new technology come out.
Yeah.
When they release new stuff and they award new contracts.
It was cool when we were there because we went in 2003 when we deployed. We had all the old school stuff yet, and then when war kicked off, we started getting new shit left and right.
Yeah.
We really did, and we thought it was awesome then.
And it wasn't even good stuff. It was just new.
It was okay stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But a lot of it was just like new stuff that we already had. They were just
we got like the PAS 13s.
oh, that's true. We did get a couple.
Yeah, we got some new shit.
Yeah.
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 We got the new PEQs.
That's true.
You know, at the time they were the newest thing.
I remember when we got the PVS 14s, the night vision.
Yeah. And the ACOGs. The ACOGs are fucking
that
sweet.
was a game changer.
That was a game changer.
Yeah. Even the little shit like vertical foregrip,
Mm-hmm.
Because it started like, I remember I bought mine
Yeah.
and then they were like, okay, we're issuing these if you want one.
Right.
And I was like, what? Okay. Yeah.
Did y'all prefer the ACOGs or the CCOs? Just the red dots.
So those are the EOTechs.
I never got those.
We
We
were
were running ACOG.
I wanted an ACOG. I like that magnification.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and I mean, I still like the
Like, did you ever aim when we were clearing a house? Like, it was just
a house. No,
It was point. Like,
that
we
only,
never use sights at all.
Well, the only time that I'd aim is because I was overwatch.
Yeah.
And so then I had to,
Right.
because I'm shooting a couple hundred yards.
But if you were going in a room,
No, there's no aiming. It's point and click.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. But that was established from training.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like maybe that first time that we did a live fire in a shoot house, I tried to aim because we're shooting balloons. And then I realized that it's so close. It takes more time for me to actually aim than it is to shoot two eyes open with,
And I could maybe a red dot would have been okay for that scenario.
But you could use the ACOG as a red dot. It just, you didn't like,
I never
you used it as a I use that as like a reflexive sight. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of there, but it's not what my point of focus is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, like clearing.
But anything past fucking 50 yards, you'd want to. I like magnified shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. But we also like, running the 240s. We ran those what is the
L-cans.
134s?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The L-can.
And those
And that was a game changer when we got those.
well, but they were also designed specifically for the 240 and the ammo that it ran.
Yeah.
So with the lines actually work.
Same thing with the ACOGs, right? Like it was all designed.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they were close enough.
But man, I tell you what, when you put a magnified optic for the first time on a 240,
Oh God.
like that 800 meter target became fucking easy.
Yeah.
Like it was sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could snipe that 1200 meter target with
Yeah.
a single round out of a 240
Yeah.
just because I knew exactly where it needed to be in the optic.
Yeah. I mean, they were fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, because we went from iron sights to good,
I remember when
good optics.
Yeah, I remember we got those. I'm like, oh God, this is gonna be a nightmare.
Well, they
We
were
got to the range, and I was just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
like this is so nice.
I mean, it added an extra pound and a half.
Don't care.
Yeah, it didn't matter because it was great.
Yeah, I'm glad that we went from basic bullshit iron sights all the way to whatever cool shit we got by the time we got out.
Yeah.
Because if we started with the cool, like I feel like I was a better shooter because of that.
Yeah, probably. But imagine if, I don't know, imagine if we ever went to a qual range with an ACOG.
Yeah, but
Like
I had to get really good to do it with iron sights. So when I got a better way to see it, it just made it easier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because with iron sights, like everything came into play.
Like I remember people would bitch about going and doing weapons qual with the, you know, like, oh, they get to use ACOGs and shit now.
Yeah.
I agree with it though. Like if you're,
By all means.
if
shoot, qual with what you shoot.
train how you fight.
Exactly.
Yeah. But you should also have a basic understanding of iron sight.
Yeah, you got to know how it works if everything fails.
I'd put folding money down that you go to a 300-yard range with iron sights, and then most people in the military now
they won't hit it.
not even
Do
close.
you remember?
Because there was a lot of times our guys couldn't do it.
You remember when we built that M16 for the Vietnam
Yeah.
vet shoot, and then we took it to the range, and we shot 300. Was it 350?
Yeah.
I think was our range.
Yeah.
With iron sights,
Yeah.
just to see if we could still do it,
Yeah.
and we both still did it.
Yeah.
But it was, and we were just shooting a gong.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. It's interesting.
Yeah. Because in my civilian life, very, very, very rarely do I ever use an iron sight. Even on my pistols, I don't anymore.
No, everything's red dots. I don't even have the capabilities of using iron sights on any rifle I have.
I still have flip up irons on a lot of my guns, but I've
Two.
never used them.
On the MCX and the MPX because it came with them.
No.
Yeah, what else you got irons on?
We'll have to go look.
I don't think anything.
I don't know. We'll have to go look.
Yeah, I think it's just those 2 SIGs because they showed up like that, and we were just like,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
leave them on there.
Yeah. Justin, when did you get in?
I joined in 2014.
Yeah, so everything was way different when you got into it.
Oh yeah, I came in and it was either red dots, the CCO, or the ACOG is what we had.
Yeah.
And for sometimes for what we would do is we'd know, like I'd always know which dudes had like fucking nuts on ACOGs.
Yeah.
And so the guys that would struggle with the CEO, they'd go up there with the ACOG and then magically they'd qualify way
Well,
better.
it's a big difference.
A massive difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that EOTech at 300 yards, your dot is covering up most of the target.
Right.
Yeah.
And if your dot's on the target, you're probably not aiming at the right spot.
Yeah.
And I'm also willing to bet that your dot is probably way too bright for you to shoot at that moment.
Yeah.
And so it's just splattering out and you don't even know if you're on the target or not.
Yeah.
You know?
That was why I would always check my guys before they go qualify if they did the CECO. I'd be
Yeah.
like, let me see that real quick, and then hand me the
Turn it
rifle, and
down.
I'd look at it and I'd be like, turn this down 3
Yeah.
clicks. I'm like,
Yeah.
you're already going to be looking down the sight when your target pops up.
Well, like,
you don't need it.
I
You know
didn't even use the ACOG that the Army issued because I didn't like the reticle.
No, we did, but we put electrical tape over it.
No, yeah, but you had that triangle.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The one I had a crosshair. It's still the
Okay.
one I had.
Yeah, yeah,
That's what
yeah.
I carried. And it had a real fine crosshair
Yeah.
because that's just
Because
what I was.
Everyone that I ran, I put electrical tape over that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know what
The
to call
tritium.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have on the ACOGs, they had a line of it on the top.
Yeah.
So it'd collect light and send it into your reticle.
Yeah.
And I would black that out with electrical tape because I didn't want it illuminated.
Yeah.
Because it would block whatever I'm trying to see.
Yeah.
I just still think it's hilarious that we had to tie down our optics to our gun.
No. John, you just triggered a memory.
I know,
Okay,
right?
with forgetting.
Well, when I was thinking of blacking that out, I was just like, why did I have? Oh yeah, we had to tie it down because I was like, there's tape and there's 550 cord. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's why.
God.
Yep. We had to tie it down. That was so funny. Yeah.
Yeah, my memory did.
Like if my optic falls off, we have bigger problems.
My memory did a really good job of just eliminating that from the bank until you said that. Oh, God, making the little X's and tying it through. Oh, fuck.
You had to tie everything down.
Everything is dumb. So
Yeah.
dumb.
We had tied a PQ. I mean, no,
Those
don't get
were
me
the
wrong.
worst.
Like, okay, so have you ever used, since you got out of the military, nobody's requiring you to tie anything down, right? Has there been a moment in your life that you had to tie something down to stop from losing it? There was for me, and I have a great story.
No.
Yeah.
The closest time, the only time I ever tie something down is when I float the river and I have a carabiner on my tube that I
Yep.
hook my R60 to. That's the only
Yeah.
time. But then my R60 can just like chill
Yeah.
in the water, and I'm
it's
like,
just-
okay,
yeah.
cool. Like
Your
that's the
cigars
only
are
time.
just tubing as well.
Exactly. Yeah.
So mine was when I was living in Arizona. I had a 2-bedroom apartment, and I was bartending at the time. And I had 2 roommates, even though we only had a 2-bedroom apartment. So one of the guys was just the guy on the couch. And I had these 2 massive, like 9-foot couches. They were
Yeah.
huge, big ass TV in the living room and whatnot. And there's, a huge glass coffee table. And we'd have people at the house like 7 days a week. Didn't matter. We were all 3 of us bartended. And so it didn't matter who was working at 2:30 in the morning. There's people showing up,
Yeah.
for years. And so the hardest thing was like that next afternoon, when we'd wake up because that was our schedule. It'd be 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and somebody would wake up and they go to start watching TV, and they can't find the remote.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I literally took a 10-foot piece of 550 cord and tied the remote down to one of the coffee table legs. And it was awesome because we never lost the remote after that. It stayed like that until I moved out of that apartment. It was like that for probably a year and a half.
Nice.
And it was amazing because you'd be laying on the couch, somebody else be on the other side, you'd be watching TV and they're changing the channel. You don't like what they're watching. You just grab the 550 cord and you yoink, and then you just reel in the remote. And now you have the remote. And then another time, I was also living in Arizona, and we had a cat, and the cat kept stealing the sponge off of the sink. So I poked a hole in the sponge and tied the sponge down to the faucet with 550 cord because the sponge would disappear. I mean, it was like, it got bad. It was like 10 sponges in a week. And I'm like, okay, listen, like we either get rid of the sponges or we get rid of the cat. I was like, but we need clean dishes. So I tied it down. So for like the next 2 weeks, every morning I'd walk into the kitchen and the sponge is like hanging off the sink and the cat's just like staring at me like, fuck you.
I'd have just tied the cat down.
That's I got outvoted on that. But yeah, I think that was it that I've tied, the things that I've tied down that are
Yeah.
But my favorite thing to do when we were in the military is if somebody lost something. Because I mean, if it was the ID card or room key, barracks room key or whatever, then the company had props to help with that.
Yeah.
We had an ID card that was this big they had to wear around, around their neck for however long, or a key that was like that they had to wear around their neck, for like a week or whatever. But if it was little shit,
It's really easy to learn through embarrassment.
oh, it really is.
Yeah.
That and the tricep is directly connected to the brain. I'm still a firm believer of that. But if guys lost things, like, you're going out on a mission, like, where's your compass? Like, fuck. You know what I mean? And then it was like, okay, empty your pockets. What do you have? And then every single thing that's on you that isn't tied down is now tied down to your belt. And so this dude's got like 15 pieces of 550 cord going into every pocket and every pouch.
You remember dragging shit through a land nav course that was tied down? Like your compass, right?
Yeah.
Like, where is it? And then it's like, fucking, you're dragging it behind it or whatever.
I mean, I used to tie down my lighters. And it was just because people would, hey man, you got a light? And you hand them your Bic and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And so I would tie it down and I'd hand it to them and they'd be like, "Ding." And I'm like, yeah, and like, fuck, okay.
Did y'all ever freeze PCs?
I don't
No.
think so.
We
But prior to our deployment in 03, we went to the range like at least once a week for 8 months.
Yeah.
You know, like it was nonstop. And so we got, you know, and being in the infantry going to the range, you don't just like walk up, somebody hands you a magazine, you get up in the line and shoot, and then you call it a day. Like you're running the range as well. Your unit is. Yeah. So you're doing the ammo, you're doing chow, you're doing everything else on top of the shooting and the quals and, you know, all the bullshit. So if you're at the ammo point and somebody sets their PC down, that bitch gets stapled to that table.
Oh yeah,
nonstop.
Fuck,
and it's not just one staple; it's 1,000 staples.
I remember that shit. Oh my God.
And all of a sudden, you hear it. You're just da 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 da, and you hear it chink, and you're like, oh shit! And you just start looking, and chink 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 chink, and you're like, fuck. Yep.
We used to have guys leave like PCs somewhere, and so they'd stick them in the water and they'd freeze it into a block. And then right before, if you lost it and you knew you lost it, you wouldn't get it back until right before final formation. And they just leave it in the middle of the drill hall in the block of ice. So every now and then you'd be standing out talking to people and you just hear like crack. It's just someone slamming their block of ice PC on the ground. And then it was always funny because then if you looked in the formation, there was that one person with a really dark PC because now it's really wet. And it's just like, bet you feel like a fucking idiot.
God, we did stupid.
Oh,
shit.
We did stupid stuff.
It's so funny when you think of it, though, and it's just like it was a bunch of kids in charge of a bunch of kids.
Yeah,
doing adult shit. Yeah. Like we all could have died all the time, and the majority of it was our own doing.
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
yeah.
What are you smoking?
I'm smoking a 50 Garrison.
Yeah. I just got done smoking a future blend.
Yeah.
A blend that we've been working on. And it's quite delicious.
Yes. We have 2 new blends in the works that are quite delicious.
We do.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This could be really fun. I'm excited for these ones.
Yeah, me too. You won't see them for a while.
No.
We have to do bands and boxes and production and all that. So
one of them, we'll put a hint out. One of them might be a 10th anniversary cigar.
Yeah.
Or it might not be.
It might not be. Might be.
Yeah. Oh, on that note. Yep. We'll let it go. We just got a call from active duty Coast Guard member. So we're going to cut this short and we'll see you guys next week. So go to warfightertobacco.com and check out all that fun stuff. Yeah. Anything else?
Nope. Cool.
See ya.